All right, welcome back. We continue to shine a spotlight on water woes, that crisis in the country. Well, in Johannesburg, South Africa's economic habit once again found itself at the center of a water crisis where the city faces recurring water disruptions. And experts warn that without governance reform and investment, the crisis could worsen. Now, the water crisis has left thousands of households without supply for weeks now. So to discuss the ongoing water delivery problems as well as the state of water supply, we are now joined by water management expert at Unisa, Professor Anja du Plessis. Prof, a very good morning and thank you for your time with us here on the SABC at this hour.
Always a pleasure.
We're trying to make sense of the facts and the opinions, sift through the noise as well. It's been a long time coming, so nothing new on the cards, but obviously navigating where to from here, particularly in this election years, is going to be quite the scene. So talk to us about what's transpiring. I mean, as we know, hardly a week has gone by without some residents of Johannesburg either having water shortages or water outages. Why do the taps keep running dry in South Africa's biggest city at large?
Well, ultimately, unfortunately, is due to no planning. The population within Joburg has increased over the decades, and unfortunately, the municipality did no forward planning. They were supposed to increase the storage capacity of the city. And what we are seeing now currently is that any type of disruption causes dry taps. For example, the past week, there were issues with Rand Water's bulk infrastructure. If everything was as it should be, with a buffer capacity of 48 hours, dry taps would most probably not have happened because you do have a buffering capacity within the city. If there is a disruption, you at least have some supply that can try and buffer the outage. So in some instances, what we are seeing is unfortunately due to that. In other instances, it's just due to dilapidated infrastructure where there are consistently water leaks, pipe bursts, creating poor pressure, and especially in our high-lying areas or those at the end of the row usually do not, unfortunately, have water due to our dilapidated infrastructure, whether it is because of throttling. There are so many factors at this point in time on the table that can cause dry taps, but ultimately it's due to non-maintained infrastructure and poor planning over the decades.
You know, Prof, this is a microcosm of the macro because, I mean, obviously beyond Gauteng now, we're looking at widespread water disruptions that's experienced across Gauteng, beyond Johannesburg. And I wonder if we could speak to how symbolic this is of a wider national problem at large, a reflection of the broader governance failures as well.
Well, there are so many examples. If we look at the Kanaland municipality, they have actually achieved day zero. I think it was Tuesday, with no water left in the dam that can actually be used for human consumption. Then we've got Knysna, which apparently is going to take them 20 days. Then you have Nelson Mandela Bay, where they have to replace 4,700 kilometers of water pipes because of it being neglected. And they also have a shortage of plumbers to fix these things. So at Nelson Mandela Bay, it takes 7 to 10 days to even fix a leak. And that's unacceptable at this point in time. The dams are full here in Gauteng, and what we are seeing is numerous areas in Gauteng, especially within the metros, experiencing dry taps. And in your previous insetsel, the Northern Cape, that's just the Northern Cape. We haven't even looked at the Eastern Cape or even Limpopo. Ask the people in Guyana if they have drinking water by now. Ask those in Hammanskraal how they have to cope with intermittent water supply. And also in some instances, they are too scared to drink the water. So we need major municipal reform. Yes, I share the major concerns of the Department of Water and Sanitation, but there needs to be some action now that those municipalities that have proved that they are not able to deliver a service, then to step aside and to say, let us get someone or a company or whatever to actually do the job.
Well, Prof, I mean, we're obviously looking at those issues when it comes to broader governance failures as well. It's a crucial year. Local government elections are coming up as well. Service delivery really shining a spotlight on the lack of service delivery and what's also happening. But consequence management is something that also has to be enforced. Why am I saying this? There's a parallel economy, it seems, that's also operating at this point. You've got water tank mafias, you've got vandalism as well. There's institutional failures at large. How are these issues compounding what we're witnessing play out in real time?
Well, it's unfortunate that we have to live in the wild, wild west. It
Yeah.
seems if you speak to water, and that just increases the lack of trust from the public towards those that are supposed to deliver our water. Unfortunately, it places more pressure on infrastructure. If you speak to the water mafia, those with the water tankers, they try to sabotage water infrastructure. And this is not a myth. This has been proved over and over and over. But the question is, what are municipalities doing to fight this? Are they working closely with SABC to try and catch these people that do the sabotage? Or I know in the city of Joburg, they're now trying to buy their own water tankers. But then the question is, okay, so are we going to carry on with water tankers for how many years? Is there any plan to try and move away from water tankers? Because, as you say, many people are being exploited by these water tankers. In some instances, they don't know if the water is safe. In other instances, they have to pay to get free water. And that's a thing also where awareness comes in. But if you ask people then, okay, if I now need to say no to pay for someone to give me water, the amount of desperation that is out there at this point in time, it's not like electricity where someone can buy a battery and carry on with life until whoever tries to restore power. Water is life. There's no replacement for it.
Yeah.
So we need to ask municipalities, what are you doing? And the Department of Water and Sanitation has asked this question multiple times. They've asked 105 municipalities that are critical to poor in service delivery to submit a plan, and most of them have not.
Yeah.
It's going to cost the country over 400 billion to fix infrastructure, and that's just within those 105 municipalities where the infrastructure is dilapidated. It doesn't even include our routine maintenance, that cost. So we need to look at the picture as a whole. And unfortunately, at this point, if you ask those around the country, what are they? What does this picture look like? It basically, unfortunately, looks like the Wild Wild West at this point.
Prof, there's a disparity between what is happening on a national level, or the instructions on a national level, and obviously how it's also being implemented or translated on a provincial and local level as well. Some municipalities have cited that the issue of revenue collection is something that they're grappling with to actually execute these services. Perhaps you could also weigh in on that, compounded by the issue of climate change. This, I mean, we've seen obviously now rains hitting some of the provinces. So we're looking at the danks and how full, the dams rather, and how full they are. What role does that also play? But obviously being translated into how people access it at large across that value chain.
Yeah. So unfortunately, what we are seeing in municipalities is, as you say, they are complaining to say they don't have any money to try and fix this problem. But then we say to them, what have you been doing the past 20 years or 2 or 3 decades? There are grants in place that some municipalities can apply for, but those grants come at a price or a little bit of a kinkle to say that for you to use this grant, you actually have to give evidence that you actually use this money for where it needs to go. And what we are seeing is, unfortunately, that municipalities have not been doing that. But now with the Department of Water Sanitation working with National Treasury, the Auditor General, they all can put more pressure on municipalities now by saying, okay, we look at your history, we look at the amount of debt that you have, especially towards water boards. Sorry, that amount of money is going to the water board first before you come to your municipality itself. You can apply for grants, etc. But what we are seeing is that municipalities sometimes ignore that instruction, or they say that in terms of ring fencing, yes, we are working towards it. We'll try and achieve that or implement it maybe next year. And in the meantime, you are sitting with the public not having any water coming out of their taps. Climate change is a major issue. So you will have areas that are experiencing more droughts. It's going to place more pressure on water systems. If you have dilapidated infrastructure, like we do have here in Joburg and apparently all over the show, is that unfortunately the water is going to get lost before it gets to the public. So your droughts are more compounded. If we look at the recent floods in the north and northeast, damage to infrastructure, that infrastructure was already dilapidated, but floods are going to exacerbate these things. And to try and minimize these impacts, we need to start implementing good governance where people implement decisions in a correct manner, where we work towards resilience, not more vulnerability.
Well, Prof, I mean, beyond droughts, there's also the issue of water leakages as well. And we're really looking at where to from here. As per the Constitution, government has to deliver on that mandate. But we're seeing it play out in real time. And the consequences are looking rather dire at this point. We've run out of time. I know there's still more questions and answers. But thank you for weighing in and for really just painting that picture of the realities on the ground that's faced not only in Johannesburg or Gauteng, but the broader picture at large. We're also going to be in conversation with the Minister of Water and Sanitation, perhaps to answer or continue with that conversation. Professor Anja du Plessis, water management expert at Unisa, chatting to us about water scarcity, water service delivery issues, the challenges, what's working, what isn't working, and where to from here. Let's keep that conversation going also on our various social media platforms. We're asking you how these effects have also impacted you on a daily basis.